So you know the meeting is being audio and video recorded and will be shown on local access television. If you could please stand and join me in the pledge to the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first item on the agenda was concerns with commercial vehicles using River Street. That person has canceled. I don't know if there's anyone else who wanted to speak to that.
Well, June is here, and
Okay.
she lives on there.
Yes, June Metcalf, 268 River Street. And yes, huge vehicles come down that road. And it is a concern, especially when students have to walk home from school on River Street, let alone just being a regular person.
Yes.
River and South Street have both experienced, South Elm Street have both experienced a huge increase in volume since they began and completed the intersections construction for the new lights, because everybody discovered that it was a great shortcut. So everybody's buzzing through there. I have trouble pulling out of my driveway often and getting into it. And we talked about sidewalks before. There's no shoulder there.
Yeah. I drive down that street every day too, and I've seen it. Yeah, during peak times it's bad. When I'm driving through at 5:30, what I see, it's mostly passenger vehicles flying down it. I know that the police department has been there last week and the week before. They've been at the dump. But I think what we could do to start is ask either OCPC or the police department to do a traffic study. They have traffic counters that they can place in different locations. I don't know if they have the ability to see how many axles each vehicle has, and maybe that would be a way. No, they don't, David.
Yeah, I tried to do that before. We don't have the technology for it, but we could certainly do the traffic counting study.
I think that's where we should start, at least collect some data on it, and then see where to go from there.
Yeah, we'll be able to do two things. We'll be able to identify the volume and the average speeds.
Yeah.
I've been told it's wearing out the pavement faster than planned too. We were just recently paved a couple of years ago.
Yep.
And the road's starting to show it.
That's a very narrow street, no sidewalks, and like you say, kids are walking along there, and all the farm equipment is going up and down there, so it's a pretty busy street.
Problem for the horses.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Just so you know too, also, where our living room is, we face Forest Street. And cars just do not stop at the end of Forest Street. And also, I can't tell you the number of times people have passed me on South Street and River Street on double lines. That people have absolutely no respect, no patience.
Okay.
I actually had a motorcycle accident because of one of the cars that didn't stop at that stop sign.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't ride anymore. I had to drop the bike to avoid hitting him.
I can have a little bit more police presence.
Okay, thank you, David. Okay, so I think that's a good plan for now, is to do a little more research study, get some data on it. No problem. Anyone else have anything to add? Okay. All right, moving on, capital budget meeting minutes for review, March 27th and April 4th. Is there a motion to accept those for review?
So moved.
I'll second this because Denise was not on the board. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Appointment of June Metcalf to Agricultural Commission. I believe she submitted a letter of interest. I believe in there she also said she's a resident of River Street. Is there a motion to appoint her to the Agricultural Commission?
I'll make that motion. I've known June for many, many years, and I know how conscientious she is, and in agriculture, she there's a lot in that area there. I think she would be a good appointment to that committee.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We have 17 acres on South Street. It's forested land, and we have a grant from the state for forestry stewardship.
We have Sturgis contracts. These look like they're mostly DPW related, is that correct?
That's correct. So all I'm looking for is just a motion to approve as presented, and then you can always sign them. We have one person sign them after the end. That's fine. You can have the whole board sign your choice.
Okay, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
I'll second it, but maybe you can explain it. What the surge contract do, I mean,
Sure.
we buy in bulk.
Yeah, so this is a number of different towns who get together in order to purchase in larger quantities, essentially, to procure better rates. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Vacation carryover, Sharon Layden, she's requesting, I believe, 2.5 days to carry over. I don't see any issue with that.
Nope, it's 2.5 days, correct.
Motion, so moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Discuss upcoming summer meeting schedule. Denise had requested July and August she'll be away. I talked to David. We won't be able to move the August one. I think I have something the week after and David has something the week before, if I remember correctly. But I was thinking we could move the July to July 11th instead of July 18th. Does that work for you, Alden?
No, I don't have any problem with it.
And is that good for you, Denise?
July 11th works great. Is there any chance we could change the August meeting to Tuesday instead of Wednesday? Would that conflict with any of your schedules?
I'm not sure. How about, for now, we won't change it. We'll look at our calendars, and if we can change it, we'll change it in the July meeting.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So did we make a motion? Is there a motion to change that July 18th?
I'll
to
make that
July
motion.
11th?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
No problem. All right. And David had asked that we not do the budget transfers tonight. I believe that will be in July. Planning Board notice of public hearing on Wednesday, July 18th, 2018, for the creation of a 3-lot subdivision called Spring Commons, located off of 109 Spring Street. David, do you want to explain this briefly?
Sure. So it's just a traditional conforming subdivision. It is, if you're driving down Spring Street, it is at the corner of Spring Street and Harvestwood. So it's on the right-hand side. They have parceled off that property into three house lots. Like I said, it's just a traditional subdivision, not a 40B, non-affordable unit housing. And the planning board will go through their customary review. Per your bylaw, you just have an opportunity to review it. If you had any comments, to send them along. But the planning board will do what they're required to do as part of the permitting process.
I know there's been a lot of activity there for a long, long time, and it's kind of messy looking there. I mean, I just hope that they can straighten it out, because it's an eyesore, you know, the way it's been, and that's been a property that's been worked on, and been worked over and over and over for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I just hope that this will clean up that property. I mean, because it's really in a decent neighborhood.
Right, it is,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And you know, and the house was built there. We got nothing against that. It was a real nice house. And I'm talking about the layout of the land and everything else there. I hope they, and I think we ought to look very, very serious about that, you know, and what's being done there. You know, it's just not just giving them permission to do what they want over there, you know. As long as they're going through the proper channels and through, you know, through the, but like I was saying, I've got many complaints on that from ordinary people that drive by, you know.
I don't have any concerns. Denise, do you have anything to add on this?
No concerns.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to pass on to the planning board.
Second? Motion?
I'll make a
Pass
motion,
on?
all right, okay.
Sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Getting through this quick. Public comment period. The only thing I have is on this coming Sunday, June 10th at 9:30 a.m., there is a service for the fallen firefighters at Pine Hill Cemetery. Would ask that anyone who's interested please attend. Any of the board members have anything for public comment period?
Well, it's a memorial for them, and, we're hoping to get people there. I realize that a lot of the deceased firefighters and a lot of the relatives have passed on too there, but it shows a lot of respect, for the corps and for the firefighters there, so, we're just inviting everybody that would like to come down for the ceremony.
I'm planning to attend.
Yeah. Like I say, we read, they read the Ross, off the stones there, the street stones. Yeah, so that's about all I can say about that, I know, I'm glad we finally agreed on the things. Last year, I tell you, it was all the years I've been doing it, and I know we were going off at 10 o'clock, and then all of a sudden, it got changed to 9:30, and they said, oh, no, it's always 9:30. I said, well, okay. So, I was waiting at home. I never got to the thing. When I got there, it was all over. Okay. So it's 9:30.
9:30?
9:30.
Okay.
Right.
You almost had me showing up at 10.
Yeah, I don't want that.
Anything from the public? No? Okay, town administrators report?
Sure, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So real quickly, just two town hall and town property uses. One is in reference to our wedding at the gazebo in September, and the other one is in reference to an annual turkey trot in November. Signed off on both of those. The other is that you will see in your packet, there is an overview of the Department of Revenue tax classification. I only bring this to your attention because this has been a substantial increase in our values, according to the Department of Revenue. It's actually a 6.6% increase. That's great, because if you own property in town, that means that you are ahead of the trend. It also means that when you sell, you'll probably put more money in your pocket than you assumed, or if you were looking for an equity loan, you would be in a better position as well. The only thing I would inform the board is that this is what the state will use 9 months from now when it starts its new budget process for FY20. And as I've been saying in other settings and venues, it is one reason why our Chapter 70 funds and for school education and for our state aid continues to lag, because we are becoming a more affluent town. And I know people in town don't want to hear that, but we are. We are considered, the DOR is considering us a much more affluent town based on our commercial infrastructure and our growth in values in our residential infrastructure. And as Selectman Marrera mentioned, that Harvestwood, Spring Street area, those are high-end homes that are being built. When you look up on Walnut Street, those are high-end homes that are being built off of Walnut Street. So we're just becoming a more affluent community. There's some great benefits to that, but obviously one is in state aid. And the last,
Also seem to be getting punished there because of being in that category,
again, they whether the
They've never explained that Chapter 70 funds to us there. That seems to be a deep secret, and it's almost like the years that we fought Southeastern Regional. I think the voters have a right to know. We go over there in the town meetings, and people ask a lot of questions. They have a right to know if the state has a formula, or anybody has a formula. What is the formula? Because we just want to see if we get our fair share.
yeah.
I mean, to not, and to just give us an answer of, oh, just throw it down, and then we'll ask the question next year, and you go on and on and on and on. I don't like that,
Yeah, no, it's just an FYI, but unfortunately, the state only has so much in funds, and what they do is part of that formula, which is pretty complex and convoluted, is that they look at your capacity to pay. And we're just becoming more and more in the category of having the capacity to pay. So, again, not saying I agree with it. My job is to just inform.
Yeah, Dave, even on these, 40Bs, what we're at 6% and we got at 10. But with the new growth and everything else, we'll never achieve that, because as the next year, and then we won't qualify for that. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, and this is going on all the time. I mean, how are these farmers being established and everything else? There's a lot out to do. There's a lot of stuff out from the Board of Selectmen that we can't touch, that we've been penalized, and I don't like that. You know what I mean? I think we've got to keep the heat on our representatives and get them to represent us. And now I find out even the new ones there, they have a hard time to get the answers themselves.
Just for the sake of an explanation, so I make sure I understand this clearly, and for the sake of discussion. So our home values increase in price basically because of what's happening in the region. The home values are increasing in this region, so we're taxed more on our local real estate tax, and we're receiving fewer funds for state aid. So
Right.
we're being penalized twice
Yeah.
as homeowners, and they're looking at it as our capacity or ability to pay, but yet our home values increasing are actually hurting our ability to pay. It's taking income right out of our pocket.
Yep, no, so, just giving you an FYI.
Yeah.
Kelly, right.
Don't kill the
I didn't do
messenger.
it. And the last thing I just want to say, I didn't place on the agenda, but I think that it's noteworthy. I just want to say a thank you to Mary and Leonard. I think that under duress, she did a really good job the other night at town meeting. That was a difficult one with all the warrant articles that were on there. And the other thing is, although she's not here, I want to say thank you to the Assistant Town Administrator, Tracy Aldrich. It was a 71-page PowerPoint presentation that took a lot of work to put together and a lot of coordination, and I think that it went well over at town meeting. So I just want to make sure that we said thank you to those two people.
I'd just like to send a letter of thanks to both of them. I mean, I know Tracy works for us here, but I think Marilyn, that the moderator did a letter with both of them.
They did a great
Thanks from our
job.
board.
Do we know what the attendance was?
I don't know.
It's a little over 200, I believe.
Yeah, it was, you're absolutely correct. I just don't know the exact
Over
number.
200?
Just over 200,
Yeah,
I
I heard
I remember the
300.
count for one of the votes was like 163, 4, and 69
Yeah.
against or something.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So it doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a lot more than last year. Last year was 87, so over 200 this year.
As they say, it's not where we are, it's where we're going.
Well, I think it was a combination of everything. I mean, the weather and everything else, I mean, you know.
Right.
I mean, usually, you know, the ball field's going over here, but it was just tonight they say, hey, wait, because you notice it attracted an awful lot of young people there,
It did,
which I hadn't seen before, you know.
and even though there were some controversial issues, the fact that the residents came to the meeting and contributed,
participated, yeah.
asked questions, they participated, I thought it was great. I mean, there were some parts that were controversial, but still, I thought it was good to see that people are taking an interest and participating.
Yep, I agree.
Okay, anything else before we go into executive session?
Well, the only thing I see the guy got the smoke lounge there, and he's talked to me off campus here too, and he's certainly looking for. Maybe you could say a few things here too, because I know you're here and I know where your intentions are. But you're not on the agenda, I know. But go ahead. Now we got one license that it's not being used, and David, I guess he's looking to at least know if there's anything going to be done there. So
Yeah.
he certainly would.
It's been closed for
is
3
very
weeks straight.
interested.
It's closed tonight.
Yep.
Even when he was open, he wasn't really open every night.
So I can't say much more at this point, but I can tell you that action is in process. That's all I can say at this point, George.
Does that take, is that quick action or does it? I don't know.
He needs to
I mean,
know.
The process takes a long time or how is it done?
I anticipate that you will see that establishment at the next Board of Selectmen's meeting where we will be requesting action.
So the next meeting is in July.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep, but it requires posting requirements and notices and all that, but it is,
That's what yeah.
but we are,
So as long as you go over there
it
and
is,
make
it has been an active conversation. We had to get past town meeting. We recognize what the issue is, and now that we're past town meeting, we are actively in the process of doing what we need to do.
Sorry if I came to the town all the week after week, but I gotta look out for myself.
No worries. Oh, no
Thank you
worries.
for coming.
Yeah, like I said,
Good thing.
I was kind of critical of him at first there, but he runs a decent place. I'll have to
Oh,
give him
very
credit for
much
that.
so. Okay,
I
very
mean,
much
you know, and he said, I hope now you vote for me this time, will you? So and it's nothing personal, believe me.
I know.
Okay? So,
Okay, thank you, George. I would entertain a motion to enter into executive session, not to return to open session, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining, specifically the library union, since in my opinion as chair, negotiating in open session would have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the town. A roll call vote.
Marrero, yes.
Raise yes.
Kinahan, yes. We're now in executive session.